Hey everybody, Jay and Nick back from Thunderhill where it was scalding hot, just horrible, had a ton of cars, had a great Judge-mobile.
Yeah, this was a Cadillac limousine provided to us by longtime LeMons competitors, the Hembrees. And it was great. It was black, it was long, it had 6 doors.
It was like a 19...
It's looking late Malaise, maybe 86.
What is this, like a 79 or something?
It's got a digital dash, but it feels like it's from the 60s. So I'm going to say, knowing GM, 1996.
So this thing actually had a lot of fine qualities. This was really an excellent vehicle. Now, and the thing about Thunderhill, this is not a cheap racetrack. Let me just say, this is an extremely expensive racetrack. It's huge. They can't even really get enough staff to cover the whole thing, nor can they afford a vehicle to carry them all around. Solution? Giant limo. Now, you may or may not remember that Dave proposed to Sarah from ISO Racing at the Sonoma race last year.
It's you and me forever, Sarah. Smile.
Well, it has come to fruition. They're getting married right after this race, so they did a great bridal wedding party theme. They went from the track, then they went down to Laguna Seca. They got married on top of the corkscrew. I officiated. I was really terrible. And then they had this great track day right afterward. Now, Dave is a Mazda engineer, and all of his teammates have these Miatas that never die and run and run and run. Dave treated himself to a fine exotic German sports car, however, because he's a married guy now and he's moving up in the world. And his weekend, it ended great. So we had a Bricklin at this race. I've always wanted I've wanted a Bricklin just to have a Bricklin, and I've always wanted a Bricklin at the race. So, it's a front engine, rear drive V8. This is not a complicated car. Man, they could not make this thing start. They couldn't make it run. They couldn't make it steer. They couldn't make it cool. It was just terrible. And it is ironic because the Bricklin SV1, that stands for Safety Vehicle 1, is actually the most rickety, terrifying, dangerous thing I have ever seen. This car was terrible. They did get it on track. Oh, so briefly. It was pretty excellent. We gave him the heroic build.
Yeah, and so I was out there trying to get a shot of this thing on track, and it was like trying to find the rare animal in the middle of the rainforest.
It was like the abominable snowman.
And I could not get a picture of this thing on track, and so, but fortunately we've got one of those automated nature cameras that did in fact capture it in the rare racetrack habitat.
Now, there was something but terrible, and unfortunately that was literal in this case, so let me just say, I'm not going to tell you who this was, but let me just say, car racing, you can scare the crap out of yourself, car racing. This guy actually scared the crap out of himself, car racing.
Now at a LeMons race, there's a lot of interesting stuff happening on the track, but of course there's a bunch of crazy stuff happening at Paddock too, and sometimes you just gotta take a couple minutes, walk around, and see what's happening in the pits.
What's going on out there?
So I came across these dudes, rookie team, Ford Focus. There was a time in LeMons when people thought, Ford Focus, bet $500 my ass, and now people are like, oh yeah, well, it's a Ford Focus. Then I came across the penalty box. And here we've got the Sharks. They've got a homemade turbocharger, or as it's known in LeMons parlance, ghetto charger, on their 5 Series 6-cylinder BMW. And that doesn't do them any damn good when they're sitting there parked in the penalty box. Then we've got this team. They used to be affiliated with Wyotech. I have no idea if they still are.
They are unemployed.
This may or may not be a good endorsement for Wyotech. They have a Ford Pro that exploded into 1,000,000 pieces, and they kind of assembled it back together, and it worked! Amazing.
The I Got Screwed trophy went to Chris Champion and Mary Harris. Now, they flew all the way out from Texas, and the car that they were supposed to drive did not run.
It was the Bricklin.
It was the Bricklin. And they rented his giant, horrible RV, and stuff was falling off of that. They brought their 2 infants with them. That's always a good idea. However, they had a solution. They rented the Scion toaster. It was right there for rent. They rented it, strapped in, went out onto the racetrack. It blew up spectacularly. They got screwed.
And our special award was the least bad car truck. Now, a car truck, as you know, is a car in the front and a truck in the back, like a Chevy El Camino, Ford Ranchero, and assorted other terrible machinery. And at this race, we had 3 car trucks. You had a real El Camino. You had
Terrible.
the Bavarian Ranchero, which is a Ford Ranchero body on an E30 chassis.
So great.
And you've got the newly created Del Camino, which is a Honda Del Sol with a 1970 El Camino body shrunken and put onto that Honda Del Sol.
Also great.
Now, this was going to be a battle between which one of these is going to be the least bad car truck. And well, you knew it wasn't going to be the actual El Camino because that was
clearly going to be the most bad car truck.
yes, and it was.
It was so bad.
And the Bavarian Ranchero, not bad until it blew up. And at the end of the day, the least bad car truck, clearly the Del Camino, better than an El Camino, better than a Del Sol.
And better than an E30. Org choice was these guys in this horrible little Toyota. Basically, this was simple. First timers, they had a fabulous attitude, they had a terrible car, they put a big apology on the back of it, and despite all of the disasters that happened to them, they never stopped laughing. We just really liked them.
And that brings us to the index of effluency, which went to Ranwen Parked Racing in their Oldsmobile Omega. Now, you know, the General Motors pretty much dominates the IOE because they are so bad. And this Oldsmobile was no exception. It had a 350. Oh, not a Chevy 350.
No, that'd be too easy.
An Oldsmobile 350, which is somehow different in every way. And then they poured some Restore into it, and it ran so badly, but it never stopped, and they finished a bunch of laps, IOE.
The Chevy Nova exact equivalent of this car was also at the race. So terrible that one of the drivers actually had to go to the hospital, carbon monoxide.
Ugh.
Here's Lemons in a nutshell.
I can't control it. There's just too much awesome in this car.
Everything you'll need to know. Huh. I mean, especially with Porsches, they're a little tail heavy. They go off. They've also been going off, well, kind of there, that area. Not so much there. But also, I mean, got the back straight and then cut out a little bit, nip the apex at 14E, 15E, go in there, and there. But then, you know, they're just going off. And the Porsche Club, the Porsche guys always wind up going off right in there too. So it's, I mean, it's not dangerous, but they're always just going off, you know? Porsche guys, that's their cross to bear, I suppose.
Hey.
I'm here, buddy. Come on.
You can now get a Porsche 928 for $500.
Now watch me whip. Now watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. Why me do it? Now watch me whip. Watch me nay nay. Okay. Now watch me whip. Watch me nay nay.